This is the Building in the Trenches podcast, episode number 6, baby. This is Sam.
This is David.
And we are having a fantastic time. Just played a great game of tennis and had a great time after a very, very productive work day right on this beautiful Thursday. And as you guys can see, today's Thursday. It's not Friday as we've promised. Well, the thing is that David is actually going up to the Bay Area to, just see the innovations of AI and all the other stuff. But yeah, David, tell us a little bit more about this trip that you have going on.
Yeah, so it would be nice if I was going there for like a tech conference, but I have my cousin's graduation going on. He's going into med school for becoming a dentist. I think he wants to do endodontist specifically. We could talk about maybe like vertical AI agents that you could build within, the dentistry, the automotive sector, like auto repair shops. But essentially, I'm not going there. It's going to be just a celebratory trip. It's like one of those things that everyone does, right? Like you graduate from college or high school, one of those things, celebrating someone's new workplace. So this is one of those milestones, and glad to be up there. I think we're also planning on visiting Yosemite. So
no way! I did not know about that. Yosemite's actually one of my favorite places in the whole wide world.
Yeah, same.
How long are you going to be over there?
So we're still like figuring out. We're like just doing it like very impulsively.
Yeah.
But I think we might be there for maybe 2 days or so.
Nice. So, yeah, take my annual membership card. So if you guys don't know, there's this annual membership card that you can get for all the national parks in the US. I think it's like, it's like $75 or $120, but then it's like you can go to all the other parks, and I think the entry fee per car is like $40. So it just kind of makes sense just to pay like you just have to go 2 times and it just kind of pays for itself.
For sure. Speaking of which, I remember earlier this morning I was looking at the news, and there was a person, I forgot what it was, like a YouTube channel, and it was a dad who was spending around $1,000 on Disney. Apparently Disney prices are just outrageous. You just tickets alone for like a family, like I think it was 5 people, like I don't know exactly. It was like 2 adults and then 3 children, I believe. But it was just outrageous because usually the Disney's LTV throughout the week, they're hoping that you also get the hotel. Yeah. So like a lot of these add-on services, it costs like $10,000 per trip to Disney. So I just found that kind of outrageous. Like national parks, I feel like is much of a better trip, but for the experience for children, I feel like they have a monopoly.
Yeah. So, Trent just want to know some business ideas, just like Disney. Walt Disney was able to create a beautiful IP, and he's still, making a lot of money to this day. And, what other ideas do you think are out there? Do you think it's even possible to create an IP just like Disney in today's world? Or what are your thoughts just in terms of that?
That's a good question. I think Netflix is doing a phenomenal job. They pretty much won the streaming war. So if you guys don't know, cable cutting, that's one of like the pieces that I was studying during like my days at Berkeley Research Group. Yeah. So I had to do like a business development kind of pitch. And one of the companies that I was looking at was Altice actually. So they're a Portugal, I think based company, but they also have headquarters in US and like just internationally. So they're a cable company, and one of the things that we realized was that their debt structures was just exorbitant, mainly because they were trying to pivot over to fiber, because fiber is the new thing. And fiber, as you know, like it's essentially cables, and you also utilizing this within Ukraine right now. So in Ukraine, because as technology is getting faster and faster, more developed and more advanced, there's always new ways of combat at lower cost. So what they're doing right now in Ukraine is they have fiber cables connected to the drone so that there can't be EMP or it can't be disabled. So there's small fiber cables connected to the drone so that if it's like hitting a target, the target can't dismiss the electronic like signals.
Wow.
So they use the fiber signals, and then the fiber it's like a fishing line essentially.
That's insane. That's
pretty
cool.
Yeah, fiber optics has really good connection speed, and if you utilize if you compare it with any other, even Starlink, I believe fiber is still faster. So that's kind of what any of the behemoth that you see within AT&T, T-Mobile, that's why a lot of them are investing into fiber, because that's going to be the big thing within telecommunications. So
that's interesting.
That's one thing. Telecommunications, if that's something that you're into, one of the things I noticed in 2030, there's a BLS report, a lot of jobs within wind turbines and like solar technicians. That could be like a business idea for sure, of maybe even making like a marketplace or like a platform. Obviously, it's definitely hard to create like supply and demand, but if you're able to provide, because there's a lot of demand, and kind of getting in the frontier of what's going to be like the rising tide that always
lifts all ships.
Right.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that because I think I don't know where, but I heard this idea from this guy saying that, hey, you just need to look at the most recent Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies from last year and just clone one of the faster growing ones.
Interesting.
And because you know that's again that lifting like tide is going to raise all ships.
Yeah.
So it is quite interesting, and it, like what you are able to do nowadays is that take that list, feed that into ChatGPT, and be like, hey, what do you see?
Yeah.
So I actually did something similar like that for apparel companies, but it wasn't an Inc. 5000. It was just top 500 fastest growing apparel startups, and there were 3 trends that I see. Number 1, of course, was Skims. I mean, growing drastically.
Shapewear. Yeah, I found this during like e-commerce. Remember, like the Mendo Scar Care project? One of the things I noticed was there's a lot of e-commerce dropshippers that are using shapewear because the margins on those are incredible.
Yeah, and the crazy part is that like it's insane because you on Temu, I don't know if Temu still exists, but on Temu you used to be able to get like the same thing for like $5.
Right.
And Kim Kardashian
upselling it for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, and the crazy part is that people are paying for it.
Of course.
Which is insane, which again brings the entire thing of like the IP, the name, and the brand, all of that. So I think it's quite an interesting thing. I think this another few things that I did see, another company that just raised was actually Underground Printing.
Okay.
It's actually a print shop. I've been around for about 20 years.
Damn.
And it was growing pretty drastically. I think they raised like $35 million.
Wow.
And like in this market, which is quite insane. But I think it's just that B2B market, people looking for more customized products. Just that trend. And the third was this company called, I think it's called Burn. Or Brunt or something.
Okay.
So it's basically workwear, but they make it more stylish.
Interesting. So it's essentially Friggs.
Yeah.
But for construction workers or some other niche.
Like Carhartt type, like
Got it.
Yeah, like
it has such a passionate niche. If you're able to carve a certain ICP, like Carhartt does a phenomenal job. Patagonia also does a phenomenal job. The story of Patagonia actually is really interesting. The founder, he was trying to find like actual climbing gear for himself and his friends. He couldn't find any, so he would do not door-to-door sales, but essentially he had his van, and he would sell it out of his like little van, out of his car. He was selling like shirts and like gear for him. So that's one of like the cool stories of just apparel, just in general. Also, Spanx is a perfect one. Jesse Itzler's wife, she was like wearing pantyhose, and it's like, oh man, this is not good for a woman. Yeah. So found a solution. Got rejected by I think hundreds of people. I believe, right? Nobody wanted to fund her, and then now over $1 billion in sales. Yeah,
it's funny how they say there needs to be a founder market fit before there's a product market fit.
I 100% agree.
Because it's just like she was just like I think her name was Sarah like Blakely or something. Yeah, Sarah something.
Sarah something. Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, she's a killer.
Yeah. And I feel like she would have succeeded even without Spanx.
Yeah. I mean, so Trencher is listening right now. Again, it's not about product market fit right now, it's about founder market fit. Look within yourself to see whether you think you're even able to become a good founder.
Yeah.
Because a good founder is able to achieve anything. If you get rejected by 100 VCs for this specific idea, well, go bootstrap that thing if you're truly that interested in that idea. Just take that rejection. And again, that's what entrepreneurs are. They take rejection for so long that they kind of get immune to it. And then, suddenly out of nowhere, people are like, oh my God, you just got lucky because you just hit product market fit.
Right.
No, it was a founder market fit before it was a product market fit because I was going to do something great regardless. It's just the opportunity. You have to be right there at the right time. Just like, Charlie Munger says that, hey, this dude sits on, a bunch of cash for so long until he deploys it, and then he just last podcast we were talking about how he had an insanely great return as compared to S&P 500. So overall, you guys need to look within yourself and try to see whether you are even built to be a founder. And if not, you need to work on building that tough side, building that shell of rejection. You should be able to take rejection every single day for years and years and years and still want to succeed in life. That's how you're going to be a true entrepreneur. And I've seen countless stories like this.
For sure. I think the work that's unseen is that should truly be applauded by yourself, but that's the hardest part. Like I myself I slack off. It's not every day, like you have to be making inches, because it's not like a maintenance. It's always like it's usually you're growing or you're dying. Like it's one or the other. It's never maintenance mode, because if you're maintaining, there's usually competitors that's going to be replicating your product, especially if you're building from the ground up.
Yeah.
So kind of pivoting into, I guess, this week is I was reached out to around using the SBA. I got 9 lenders.
No way!
That got back to me, and some of them are not doing acquisitions at this time because they've kind of booked out.
Yeah.
But I am in the talks of booking some meetings so that I could hopefully build some relationships with some banks that are, hungry. Not like one of these big banks of like Chase Bank and whatnot, but more hungry because they're more likely to give favorable terms. Maybe even work with seller's note. But yeah, I mean, I had a conversation with the partner from last podcast, Ming, of figuring out, okay, what are some actionable like skill sets that we're going to be bringing on the table to actually kind of 80-20 what skill sets we have. And the most important aspect for us that we're looking at is obviously just contracts. Like anything contract wise, it's really good. Risks that we're trying to avoid are any geographical risk. We've seen case studies that I've been looking at there's a guy that purchased like a hail auto repair company. And the crazy thing is there was a hail and it literally just demolished their entire customer base because the hail happened when the cars were like in the garage lot. And they weren't like really insured. And this guy put the company was worth $5 million during the time of his purchase in 2018, and 2019 is what that happened. And during COVID, there was no hail, so there was no customers. Damn. So eventually, he had to file for bankruptcy, and then he had to wind down the business. So that's a real horror case because he had $750K to $1 million in his name, but these are like structural risks that he wasn't really considering at the time. I think now he's back up. Like again, going back to the story, entrepreneur like fit. He was eating literally poop, like shard glasses every single day, waking up. Oh my gosh, I'm alive. Like it's like living hell, right? Imagine like $1 million you saved up for your entire life, at age 40. Wiped away within matters of 2 years because number one, COVID, and there's no like risk of like actual hail coming down, or like the fact that you didn't have like proper insurance or systems in place to kind of take care of like the existing customer base. So there's a lot of risk.
I think they call that battle scars. Yeah, the thing with entrepreneurship is that I guarantee
the fact is like nobody gives a damn.
Yeah.
Like the market doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
So it's truly like, I feel like you have to be delusional to a certain point, like to really believe in your mission. Because I can't imagine myself doing that. I feel like I'm still very like, I would literally like in the trenches with you guys, like the frontline people.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how some of these people do it, but it's through those people. Like they gain these battle scars. Get the dog tags of all the people that they've shot and killed, and then they become leaders, right? And then they're able to lead other trenchers because now they have stories. They're up further ahead in the progress line, and these are the ones that literally own dictators and they own civilizations because the value that they provide is just immense.
It's insane. I was listening to this podcast from the founder of Ridge, Sean, and he was basically like, someone was asking him, they're like, honestly, I mean, you're in a very tough industry. You can literally buy the same thing that you're selling as a dupe, like, on Amazon.
Right.
Like, how are you just not scared? How are you still trying to scale this thing to $100 million a year? And his answer was, I'm honestly not really scared to go start from zero.
Wow.
And he's like, I really don't care.
And he's like the top of the game within e-commerce, right? He's like one of the thought leaders.
Yeah. And he's like, honestly, it's just, I kind of enjoy this. And like, what I'm not scared of is like starting from zero. He's like, I can redo it over and over again.
I believe it, because he's built out the skill set from the battle scars. He's like, okay, I know exactly, I've been in this position. I know how to position myself for success.
Yeah. And it's funny, I think I was listening to the Operators podcast recently. I think, what's his name? The founder of Cuts was actually on there.
Wow.
Talking about tariffs and stuff. And he was basically talking about that the founder of Nike had to go back to the job market after 12 years of building the brand because of a market downturn.
Really?
And he was a professor.
I don't remember reading that in the Phil Knight's book. Shoe dog, by the way.
So apparently, like, he's like, if the founder of Nike had to do that, what makes you guys think, you know, especially in like the e-commerce space, that you guys are not going to go through the downtrend? Sure. It's all about just surviving, because you can always build back up. What you don't do is die. Like, you just, as long as you survive, given enough time, you are going to make it. Right. Just stay in the game. You are going to win. Like, it's just, again, you have to have a little bit of a gambler's mentality in order to truly win as an entrepreneur. Because, and again, I think gamblers are delusional as well, because they're like, hey, you know, we are going to win. And some of the times it does help. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was an insane story. Just imagine working on something for 12 years, and you're like, all right, I have to go get a job now.
The crazy thing is, like, with entrepreneurship and everything on social media, is that it's so, like, survivorship bias is so real. Like, the only things that you're gonna be consuming is the people who are succeeding and whatnot. Obviously, that's why, like, this podcast, unless we have some actual exits, it's gonna build any type of credibility in the first part.
I mean, you're gonna see us struggle for years and years and years and years, every single day. We're not gonna, I mean, we're not even gonna be able to sell a course, because people are gonna be like, oh my God, you guys are still struggling. Like, you're one of us. Yes, trenchers, we are one of you guys. We plan on staying trenchers. I plan on being a trencher for the rest of my life, no matter how big my company is, because I think being a trencher is not just a vision, it's a lifestyle. It is. And that's the lifestyle that I've chosen for myself. Right. And I think, you know, people who truly succeed actually do believe that, you know, they are trenchers, and, you know, all the social media people who, you know, say they're not, blah, blah, blah.
Because they had to start from this ground up, be resourceful. Yeah. And literally conjure up something that has maybe not existed, or remix something that has not been here. Literally. Yeah. Like, for example, I'm thinking about Anne Calhoun. She started a nonprofit called Back on My Feet. It was a charity organization that helps homeless people literally get jobs. That's such a hard sell to do. Imagine selling homeless people to get jobs. You know, I mean, obviously there's the joke of like, why is there homeless people? Oh, just get a job, you know, just make money. But like, actually doing it, she's done it. Like, would wake up on 5 a.m. and like she would gather all these homeless people, go on a run, and then she would attract board members of like actual CEOs to invest in the nonprofit so that these people could be employed. Because if they show that, hey, if this person is showing up, this homeless person is showing up, they actually have the mentality and they have the grit, or like they want it. You know, it's not that they're just like crack addicts or, you know, any other problem. So that from utilizing that, she made around $400,000 in savings, and then she redeployed all of it. Not like imagine 401k, everything into her lifetime project, which was Solid Core. Solid Core, her Pilates project. And guess what? She's done it. She exited for, I think, like I believe over 100 million or so, right? Yeah. I don't know what her profit, like what her take home was, but I mean, if she's done it by finding an opportunity and going all in, betting on herself. But again, she is truly a dog, I would say. And honestly, trenchers, I don't want you guys to be like, oh my God, like I'm not really successful if I don't have $100 million exit. No, I mean, the thing is, as long as you have enough of an exit that you're able to change your life, or as long as you're able to get your business to a point where you have enough cash flow that your life truly changes, that's what business is all about. The business is all about transforming your life by providing so much value to society that society, you know, gives you more than, you know, like whatever service you're providing, it's costing. So again, you know, that's kind of what I think we kind of chatted about this last podcast as well. And I think, I mean, it just, a win to somebody like, you know, randomly living in India or Thailand is entirely different than a win for, you know, anyone living in the United States. For sure. And I think for me, I do get lost in the delusions. It's like, oh my God, like, you know, if I don't have $100 million, like, it's just, you know, I'm still going to stay hungry. And that goes to, I think it's just a bad mentality, because then I feel like you don't really enjoy the process, because you're always looking for, you know, that $100 million exit. Right. And then you're not really going to enjoy every single thing that you're doing, not going to enjoy the problem you're solving every single day. And that the way that you truly succeed is if you enjoy the problem that you're solving. And that's why, I mean, a lot of people who have succeeded like crazily, I mean, they've done things that they can do for a very long time. It's like Naval's quote, you know, you wanna do something that feels like play to you, but fun, like, you know, work to others. Yeah. And you will never work a day in your life. And another quote is like, if you're only 30 failures away, how fast do you want to fail? Yeah. Which is kind of like the gambler's mentality of like, just 10 slots away, 10 slots away. But that's what founders usually do. You know, if they have like strong conviction, you know, they're gonna be playing on the game while we're making this. Like, there's other people just crunching it away, literally in the trenches, trying to figure, okay, what is this bug? I gotta figure it out, because they're trying to scratch the itch of like, oh, this pain point is so real, and they have to figure it out. But yeah, I think it's a skill set that you have to build for sure.
Yeah, let me tell you about something very interesting I found out. So you know how vibe coding is kind of becoming a thing right now? So a lot of people are building, you know, a lot of people who are not really developers are, you know, developing a lot of the programs themselves. And a lot of these programs get developed. Sometimes they go viral and they get some good PR. That means they get a lot of backlinks.
Right.
SEOs come on the back end and they're like, oh my God, there's these websites are so easy to hack because there's no security measures because no developers created those.
Right.
They come in, they basically hack the websites and redirect a bunch of the backlinks.
Probably one of you guys watching. That's truly a gray hat method. I can't even believe like some of these methods usually that Sam tells me, but I'm just amazed of like how crazy, like how lawless this space is, the degeneracy. But these are the true affiliate marketers that are making more than like hundreds of thousands of dollars because they find something and they're like, I gotta capitalize upon this moment.
And it's funny, most of these end up going into casino websites and porn websites because those are like, you know, the highest affiliate, like highest percentage revenue, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And also it's just, you know, those people, they can't really run like actual ads. So they're like, hey, we got to figure something else out. So I think it's just hilarious that, you know, that does end up happening. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I still have this one idea that maybe I'll just, you know, tell you guys. It's about a marijuana directory. It's funny how we're talking about, you know, like a gray hat industries where you're not able to run ads. I'm still stuck to it. I'm probably not going to build it. So Trenchers, if you guys are interested in something, let me give you some sauce. So basically there's a huge percentage. If you look at like the amount of searches that people are, you know, doing within the United States, I think like 4th or 5th is actually, you know, dispensaries near me because a lot of these people are addicted to, you know, marijuana. What you are able to do is that, I mean, if you go look out in the current market, you see, you know, companies like Weedmaps and with companies like Leafly. Those are very strong domains, and they end up ranking for every single time someone looks up directory near me. So the thing there is that if you are, you know, a good SEO, you want to learn a little bit of SEO, or actually just buy an aged / bankrupt company within the marijuana space, what you are able to do is you're able to take a lot of the PR from them. You can go ahead and rank that website and kind of take some market share from Leafly and you know, Weedmaps. So I'm probably not going to do this idea because, you know, I have a lot of other things going on, but I still do believe that you can, you know, do if you are passionate about the industry. I think the main reason I realized that I don't want to do it because I'm not really passionate. Like I'm not really like a smoker or anything, so I'm not passionate about it. And but it's also funny that, you know, people who are smokers are probably not going to have enough energy to build something like this. But yeah, like overall, Weedmaps is actually a publicly traded company, and yeah.
I feel like that's also a thing about building platforms like that of the supply and demand is extremely hard. Like keep in mind that Indeed or like LinkedIn, they've bought. I mean, Microsoft's acquisition of LinkedIn was probably one of the most profitable. Reid Hoffman himself, like I think it was like $1 billion purchase.
Yeah.
But it's one of the most profitable because it's a platform and they don't really have to build anything, and they're probably operating at 80% or higher profit margins because again, it's just a marketplace, right? It's of like they're a middleman service. Middleman services are extremely profitable, but it's extremely hard. It's a very delicate balance to handle both the supply and demand. Yeah. Other ways like you see this within senior care. One of the things I studied was like PAPA, which is essentially it utilizes college students kind of as the labor pool to help out the seniors, because seniors, they need a lot of help with groceries, accompanying because of the loneliness crisis that you guys hear a lot about. So they just want someone to kind of take care of them, and so they're utilizing the untapped people where they might want a side gig, kind of like, you know, Uber for college students, but you know, they're serving seniors. You also see this within, you know, for example, locally, we have in UCLA, there was a founder that started, I think his name was like David Lean or something, but he started this thing called, it was not Popple. Popple was another one, but
yeah, I know
it's like it's a scooter thing. What was it called?
Like Birds or something?
No, it's not Birds. It's where they they drop off like groceries.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking
the
about?
Asian grocery?
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot the name.
Yeah, but essentially they do, there's the Asian snack one as well. I think there's, essentially they do for college students, they bring up to their dorms of like small snacks. And obviously the margins is very large because snacks are like sold at a higher multiple, even with drinks. So that's kind of like one marketplace that he created, like a Uber aspect, but obviously, you know, supply and demand aspect there is going to be extremely hard unless like you distribute very, very quickly across all colleges once you have some PMF. Other really interesting things was Clipboard Health. They essentially found a market that nurses want jobs. So this founder actually was starting with college refinancing, talking with a lot of engineers and her connects. I believe either in Cornell, she was one of the Ivy Leagues and had a lot of connections. And then one of the pain points she found was that a lot of nurses, especially within residency or just like in nursing school, they wanted jobs, right? They didn't need help with like refinancing. Some did, but the pain point was, how am I gonna get jobs? And BLS report even says we're gonna have 275,000 nurse shortage by 2030, which is insane. That's a huge aspect, and that's mainly because of the boomer generation. You guys have heard about $10 trillion of boomers that's being transferred down. I think I told Sam that, you know, the crazy flex that we're seeing is in New York, in Manhattan, that a lot of the homes that are apartments that are being purchased are through trusts, and that's because the parents are purchasing their children some nice apartments because they have the cash and they're transferring their wealth. Same thing happening with businesses. There was like a Japanese billionaire, I believe, like in that was in Forbes, and what he did was in Japan they have a crazy aspect of like older people compared to younger generation. So he built out like these older people who are business owners. They need people to kind of pass down their business. So he created a Japanese M&A like kind of acquisition marketplace, which did extremely well.
Damn.
And that's kind of like one ideas of like how you're spotting out these trends and building marketplaces on. But I could say like it's extremely hard, and you do have to be early on if you're kind of spotting these, because Clipboard Health, I think that was founded like maybe in 2017, even probably earlier, and now it's doing, I think in YC as a whole, I think they were ranked number 1 in 2024 as the most revenue generating. I believe they generated over like $300 million in revenue, and all they're doing is that they're a marketplace for nurses to be connected with like hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, like every single segment. So what I thought about was like, okay, what if I just target assisted living or memory care and just be extremely good at that? But obviously that requires a lot of distribution of knowing the right people, and hensely like I don't want to kind of build product market fit from the ground up. I'd rather like acquire something, whether it be not competing with those crowd of the Ivy League YC crowd, but more so of like, you know, septic or plumbing or you know something, going back to boring businesses where people are still writing pen and paper, or just, you know, just through cold calls. That's how they get most of their business. That's kind of like the industries that we're looking at.
I honestly think that's a pretty smart idea, and I'm very, very excited to see the journey.
Right.
And you know, every single day I'm just like, yes, like, you know, I get to see it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I honestly would be doing the same thing. It's just, you know, I'm just have like different things going on. But it's funny, you said two things right now that kind of brewed a little bit of ideas for me.
All right.
Number one was the guy, the David Lin or something from who basically took the Uber idea and he localized it.
Exactly.
How many other localized ideas?
There's so many.
So many.
There's so many, but keep in mind, a lot of these fail. That's why I'm like trying to tell you, Trenders, like if you're building a marketplace, you need to make sure you have good connections with the supply and the demand. There's been companies that they're doing Uber for wines, because wines has so high profit margin, and I see that from the deals that I see. They're running at 23% profit margins. So that's take home after all of their liquor, getting the liquor vendors, liquor licenses, all of those costs excluded, 23%, and that's across like average. Damn. And like California, keep in mind, we have the biggest like liquor. California has the biggest customers that drink booze. I mean, in Napa Valley we have one, in the Bay Area there's a lot of wineries in California. But one of the things that they were also trying to do was, I think, one for like, I think it was just like snacks, like Uber for snacks. There's so many different like Uber for like microservices, but that has failed. I mean, think about DoorDash is a perfect example. What they're doing right now is, I think they have like 30%, or they have a big market share within this just deliveries. And what they're doing right now is they're expanding internationally. They're purchasing different companies so that they could do consolidation within a fragmented industry.
It's actually funny that you just mentioned alcohol, because I recently saw a tweet from Sam Parr.
Okay.
He was talking about, he's like, I think he quoted this one, like, you know, little infographic saying that, you know, people are drinking less and less, and, you know, alcohol is on a permanent decline. And then I also, you know, randomly saw this VC that specifically invests in alcohol, and he's like, that's all fake, because because
conflict of interest right there.
No, but it was actually funny because his reasoning made sense. So he basically provided supporting data. He's like, so in during the pandemic, every single person was cooped up in the house, and all they were doing was drinking.
Booze?
So the demand for booze itself just spiked up so artificially high.
Interesting.
And now it's just coming back to the mean.
Gotcha.
So it looks like, hey, it's been declining for the last, like, you know, 4 years or so.
Right.
But of course it's been declining because, again, people are going back to work. They're not like, you know, drunk every single day.
Exactly. And I feel like another thing is like with any like booze in general, if you're working in a corporate experience, I feel like it's just mandatory. Like whenever I go to like corporate events, they serve, you know, booze. Just for relaxing tensions and whatnot. So I feel like the mean is always it's gonna revert to the mean. I don't think it's gonna be. We see, especially younger demographic. I heard that they're drinking less. That's why you see like carbonated. What's that? Pop? Was it pop?
Olipop?
Olipop. Yeah. Olipop was a great success story. I mean, there's so many, like, that's obviously survivor bias because I see at Erewhon, there's like 50 different brands and I have no clue what they do. But they're kind of targeting the same demographic of people drinking less alcohol and targeting that one. But
I really don't believe, yes, people can be health conscious, but the thing is people are getting more and more awkward, especially being in front of the screens. And of course they're going to need some sort of, like, you know, external things within the society. I mean, with our society, it's just kind of so embedded deeply that, you know, people are like, oh, in order to let loose, we're going to do this. Unless, I mean, of course there is the thing that, you know, people care so much about their health going forward. But the thing is, before
they
alcohol,
have to be making, I feel, this was a quote I heard from Brian Johnson, which I thought was so true. It's like people, like humanity as a whole, is gonna care about longevity as long as they're making money from it. Right. And that's like, it's true. Like if it doesn't, like if they're not making money, for example, why do people eat McDonald's? Like it's cheap. It makes money for them at the end of the day because like it's like reliable. It's like they know what they're gonna get. I mean, Ray Kroc, the freaking founder of a franchise, he probably did more harm than like a lot of people that we know because he made such a efficient system of best franchise in the world. Like think about if you go to any McDonald's, you know exactly what you're gonna get. You go in there, oh my god, I'm gonna have such a good time. Like the dopamine receptors are fried, but then the time you come out, you're like, oh, this was a horrible idea. Everyone has the same experience, but he systematized it internationally, which is just a beautiful like case study of like if you make something work.
So let's talk a little bit more about Brian Johnson, because I think when he first came out, I was like, yeah, this guy's like truly, you know, trying to transform the world. I think over time I've realized all that was just a big like marketing push, and it was just a big PR thing, because I really don't believe the guy was like, yes, he cares about longevity, but like I don't know, like the way that he's kind of selling himself out, that the way that he's trying to, you know, approach fame, to him, like he's saying, oh my god, like, you know, I'm doing this to actually transform the world. I truly like it. That does not seem like the behavior of a guy who's, you know, like truly trying to transform the world. He had money all his life, and now he's just trying to chase fame and also money. What are your thoughts just in terms of that?
Yeah, well, I actually saw Brian Johnson like twice. So to kind of like do a little pushback or rebuttal, I would say Brian Johnson, his mission is very unconventional. Like his perspective truly is like he's trying to think about, okay, in 2500, what is going to be the standard? And he truly believes that you're going to be able to reverse aging by just focusing on the power laws of like health laws. And for that, it's sleep, like make sure you get good adequate sleep. Make sure you're not eating processed food and eating high polyphenols like all the extra virgin olive oil. Make sure you're also exercising because that has a big indicator. So I feel like a lot of these general concepts are kind of, we know it, but it's good reminders. But yeah, as you mentioned, like the way he's kind of going about it, maybe with publicity might not, like it might rub people off the wrong way, like with like Netflix, like inviting Kim Kardashian for his like dinners. But it's one way to get the conversation started on being more health conscious. So I think it's like a positive impact. But I mean, if you look at his meals, he's selling a supplement. Like I even bought mine as well. It's all right. Sometimes like some of the pills actually have some like bad like side effects for me, but I mean he built it up to over $100 million in revenue, and it's keep in mind
in 4 weeks.
Yeah, and keep in mind this is like recurring revenue because subscription based businesses is, you know, that's how it works. Crazy thing to kind of pivot off that is like meal prep services. Apparently within a 1 year, if you look at the curve of the retention, it's so bad. The only dominant player is HelloFresh, and they're able to get it down. They have like decent customer retention, and mainly it's because their cost is just as competitive as, you know, groceries, like making like a meal for yourself.
Damn.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of these meal prep companies, they target different segments of people who are working in finance or who are like working professionals who are already spending $35-$40 because they're so busy all the time. So that's one market segment. There's another for gym bros. There's one for just like very healthy, like clean eating, vegan, like the keto diet, that group. So you really need to understand your ICP, and Brian Johnson has gotten his ICP perfectly down of like people who are longevity focused and just kind of like that Huel, like people who drink Huel, that type of crowd, I feel like.
Okay, I mean, talking about Huel, let's go ahead and talk about one of my favorite companies right now, Grunz.co.
Oh boy.
That new valuation is about $500 million, and it's the most insane thing.
Such
the most insane
Not
thing
insane,
I've ever heard.
but
Yeah.
simplest.
I mean, he literally he's like, AG1, but let's make it gummies.
Athletic grains for gummies. And I think you also mentioned creatine gummies, and then creatine gummies was not a good hit, but they transformed that or repackaged the marketing and the product into creatine pills.
Yeah, creatine capsules. So there's some companies that are coming out now. They're like, you know, if you look on Google Trends, like, you know, creatine gummies is kind of saturated. They're like, hey, what else can we do? We're going to turn it into capsules for guys, you know, who don't want to eat gummies. So I think it should, and it's actually funny. Grunz itself, did you know it's not profitable?
No.
Yeah. So the thing with supplement companies is that a lot of them are just, they don't really have a choice but to expand and like just literally like go all in into trying to attract, you know, a huge amount of market share. So Grunz itself is actually growing by, it's so funny. What they're doing is, I'm not really sure if I said this in the last podcast, but they're using, you know, college athletes as affiliates.
Right. Now with NIL.
Yeah.
Right. NIL, I believe, I don't know the acronym, but essentially for college students to make money. And there's been a lot of like crazy scandals that's been happening of like parents that are controlling the students. There's one actually at UCLA. Before that, he was getting $4 million, and then he was trying to bid it even higher. And his dad was like, "Oh yeah, he should be making more." And then he was like recruiting, and he just got one offer actually, and then he was making just $2 million from his original $4 million because his dad was getting so greedy.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens, especially when you open it up to like a lot of these college athletes who are gonna be making just as much money if they're professional players. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because think about how many normal average American watches sports, bets on sports, that in itself is a whole nother topic.
Yeah, I mean,
betting.
Sports betting, oh my God. Oh my God. Like there's only one guy in sports betting that I always think about, and it's Drake.
Yeah.
He's one of the biggest like rappers, like, you know, like out here. And I think he has a huge stake in Stake.
Yeah, Stake.com.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about those guys, don't they get paid like $400 million in dividends?
Yeah.
It's absurd. It's like the same level of like OnlyFans people, like OnlyFans creator. I think his name's like Ryan. I mean, they pocket crazy amount of dividends because people are hooked on pornography, on betting, like the dopamine. I get it. Like I could definitely, I'm one of them. I'm a dopamine junkie. If I see like my team winning, I'm betting on it. If I see really hot chicks, like I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's gonna fry your dopamine receptors. Let's be real. But you know, like that's why like you got to be aware of like how these platforms are hijacking your brain.
Yeah.
Because like for the average Joe, once they get it, they're gonna scale, and their LTV is gonna be insane.
I don't even have, you know, like most of the apps on my phone. The only thing I have is Twitter right now, which I'm kind of like, you know, addicted to a little bit, which I, you know, probably shouldn't be, but I do try to stay in the, you know, like the following. I try to, but then I just go in the For You page, and then I go
cracked. It's
so bad.
It's so
he really turned it into a TikTok. Like Elon literally, I don't know where he brought the algorithm, but you know, he changed it somehow. But yeah, I mean, it's just overall, I try not to. I do have like I have some PDF books that I try to read, but they're so boring. I'm just like, oh, give me the dopamine.
Even Naval says it. Naval is like trying to be very philosophical, like very like modern wisdom, like of within the VC aspect. But even he can't stay away from Twitter. Yeah, and this guy is like the most calm and like most like what's the right word, like of like abstinent person that I might like know of. And if he can't keep Naval off Twitter, like I know us, we're slaves to Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, overall, like again, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, especially when you're in the trenches, you have to make sure that you're able to focus on your whatever you're building. You know, your actual goal.
The one thing.
Yeah, the one thing. Number one, you need to be obsessed with it, and you can't let extra cheap dopamine anywhere out there to actually affect you. I get affected by it. David gets affected by it. But again, we are trying our best to make sure that, you know, we don't get affected and we do end up, you know, getting to the end goal. And I mean, what a great episode this is, man. I mean,
for sure. I mean, just to give a quick recap before we let you guys go, it's like our week, that's like my progress so far. One of the things I also kind of wanted to talk about was some other case studies that I was looking at of there's very creative people. I mean, this is more advanced for the trenchers here who are like looking into the acquisition aspect, which is if you're like the Sarah Moore, I'm going to bring Sarah Moore back. But Sarah Moore, she's a very advanced person because she was able to get the seller to actually finance literally the entire deal, not spending a single dime, but that requires some actual due diligence, learning the seller's motives, and then actually pitching without using a middleman service. So that's one way of like utilizing seller's note to your advantage, where if you understand the business well enough, know their motivations, then you're able to structure something where you have less risk. That's something that I kind of realized of like, I mean, every limitations that you have of like you have no money, you could actually utilize that as an advantage of, okay, how can I make it work? Because like there's a lot of creative financing that you could do, truly. Other things that I've kind of recognizing through the entrepreneurship journey is like, recurring value is really, really important if you want to make anything work. It's good to have like one-time payments, but you're always thinking about like the longevity of something. And so building like high income skill sets, for me, I believe that's going to be sales, marketing. Those two are going to be the growth engine, but also actual operational excellence, either partnering up with someone who has that. CPAs and lawyers, those are like, there's a reason why, you know, if you go to college, like those professionals are kind of what's recommended because they're very recurring value. A lot of people need it on a daily basis. So I mean, I think that's kind of my week so far. Sam, why don't you just do a quick
I think on my week I was just working on some larger deals and just
chasing that B2B contract.
I know, just trying to, again, it's just the thing with the enterprise deals is that they do take a little bit and there's some back and forth and just following up with people, trying to see. It's funny, one of the enterprise deals I actually did lose. I mean, mostly because we sent them over a sample and accidentally during the production side of things we did end up messing up and they didn't like that, so haven't heard back just on that end. And basically another thing I did was sent over Mother's Day email marketing for print fits and just to keep the audience engaged.
You did that fast. You did it in a day.
Yeah. So it's just sometimes. I
remember Sam was talking about this literally 2 days ago.
I know. It was at nighttime. In the morning, I had it done.
Wow. You gotta move fast.
I know.
Move fast, trenchers. There's always another competitor who's sending the email campaign. You gotta be one step faster.
I know. So I did that, and and then I actually was able to get a few backlinks from. I'm in this paid community, and they're doing this ABC backlink swap. Got it. Where hey, I have this website, I have this powerful website, you have this powerful website. You want to just do a quick trade,
right?
And then so basically,
that out?
got got a couple backlinks from there, and yeah, next thing I did was yeah, just checking in, just like the classic customer service and support and all that stuff. So chugging along, and yeah, just trying to chase that B2B enterprise revenue, and trying to figure out also. Since we are going to be expanding, I did a financial model in trying to figure out what needs to happen, how much leverage we're going to need in the future, what new machinery is going to be needed, how many employees are going to be needed, because with enterprise clients and expanding in general, it's a whole juggernaut of a thing, and you just need to make sure that there's so much complication, and if you are able to figure it out, you are able to increase that monthly recurring revenue. But again, it does come with a lot of work that you do have to do. And it's funny, one little thing before I let you guys go, I was listening to I think the Operators podcast this morning, and they were talking about, they're like, hey, e-commerce in general, it's a mess right now.
Right.
What is the one thing that that still has opportunity? And a lot of them were like, hey, we're looking into buying some U.S. manufacturing facilities. And I was like, oh my god, like
positioned.
I know, I'm well positioned. It's pretty insane. I'm like so glad that we ended up getting the warehouse before this entire situation happened, because it's just we got $1 per square foot on that warehouse. So again, I think if Sean from Ridge is talking about getting into U.S. manufacturing, I think I'm at the right place at the right time.
For sure.
And basically just need to close some of these enterprise clients, and keep the ball rolling in terms of that. And wow, I mean, what a great episode this was. And yeah, I mean, David, are you excited for Yosemite? Tell us a little bit more about it. Let's do a little fun time.
So yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, as Sam said, it's his favorite spot. I would rank it. I literally told him that it's my favorite spot. In my room, I actually have like a Yosemite little what is it called? Like
the little painting.
Yeah, little
poster.
painting. Yeah. Because it's like heaven on earth.
It's truly magical. It's magical.
Yeah, you can't really describe it. Like you have to be there. Yeah, I can't describe. I was trying to imagine like the best words. Ethereal. I don't even know. Like heavenly. Like it's beautiful. So gonna have a good time there. And then on the next podcast, most likely I'll be on Zoom, or like we're gonna figure something out.
Yeah.
So that we could get it up back. But yeah, still gonna be working while I'm up there. But it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a good experience.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm very, very excited for you to have a great time.
Thank you, man. But yeah, with that stated, hopefully you guys have a wonderful week. I love keeping you guys accountable along with ourselves. So make sure you guys like, subscribe. If you guys are appreciating the journey, we'd love some feedback back. But with that stated, episode 6 in the books. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Episode 6, baby. Have a good one. Bye.